I see this suspect. He's walking across the parking lot real slow and methodical, and I'm kind of timing it, and I'm listening to where my backup is and how their ETA and how far off they're going to be. And I soon realized that I was going to have to Hey, Matt Patrick Kelly here. So I want to talk today about meditating and why we should meditate, why meditation should be part of your daily practice to help you mentally, spiritually, and physically. You can get into meditative states and accelerate your healing. That can help your physical. But why meditate? Well, there's health benefits. I mean, you can look at all the health benefits that it does. It's great to get out of our beta states of mind, or beta brainwave patterns, and get into alpha and different higher mind frequencies. So the other thing I really want to talk about, and that's what this is about, is it helps with focus and concentration. So I'm going to share two stories from when I was a police officer. For one when I was a police officer, and one when I had just gotten out of law enforcement, and how I believe my meditative training had helped me focus. So the first one was I was a one-man unit. I normally had a partner with me in Dallas, but 4 days out of the week I had my partner. 1 day out of the week I was a one-man unit, and I was a one-man unit. There was a call at Walmart or at a Sam's Club, and there was a guy that had just left the store. They thought he had a gun. He had a hoodie on, and he's walking across the parking lot, and he's getting ready to cross this street and go into a building, a group of shopping centers and apartments and stuff that had quite a few people there. So I was the first officer on the scene. I was waiting for my backup to show up. I see this suspect. He's walking across the parking lot real slow and methodical, and I'm kind of timing it, and I'm listening to where my backup is and how their ETA and how far off they're going to be. And I soon realized that I was going to have to do something before backup got here. So I pulled my squad car to in the line of sight where he could see me. I could get out, and then I walk in his line of fire. So where he's walking straight towards me, and he's got his hands in his hoodie pockets, and I could tell his hood kind of adjusted, so I knew he saw me, and then he's still just kind of looking down, looking like down 7 feet in front of him as he's walking, not altering his path at all. And I'm like, "Hey, buddy," trying to get him to come up, and nothing. And I'm like, "Oh man." Supposedly he had a gun. This, that, and the other. He's getting closer. I'm starting to step back in a bladed position. I've got my hand on my gun. I'm talking to him, starting to give him commands. "Hey man, slow down," this, that, and the other. And this thought came in my head. So where I think meditation helped me was that before I went to work, I dropped my uniforms off at the cleaners. So I had 5 uniforms. We might have had 6, 2 long sleeves and 4 short sleeves. Anyway, I had taken all of them to the cleaners that before I dropped them off at the cleaners before I went to shift, started my shift. And this was my only uniform that I had. And it had to last me. It had to last me this shift and the next shift, because it usually took, the dry cleaner I went to usually took 2 days to get all my uniforms back. So I was like, "Hey, I'm going to bite the bullet. I'm not going to leave, I'm just going to get them all washed, and then I'll just have one I need to get clean." So as I'm starting to get into this situation with this guy, and he's getting closer and closer and closer, this thought came in my head. It's like, hey man, don't get your uniform dirty. This is the last uniform you have, and it's got to last you for 2 days. It's got to last you this shift and tomorrow. So don't get in, don't get dirty. It looks like some stuff's about to go down, and don't get your uniform dirty. Remember, this is your last uniform. And the reason I say meditation helped me is because this was an errant thought. And one of the reasons, one of the benefits of meditation is a lot of people say, man, I can't not think of things, like sit here and think of nothing. I can't think of nothing. There's all these unwanted thoughts that come into my head, And then I try to clear my mind and concentrate on my breath and counting and this, that, and the other. And that's the point. That's part of the point of meditation, is when these unwanted thoughts come in, to just dismiss them. Not get upset by them. Not give them too much stock, right? So that's exactly what this was. And I remember a part of my brain wanted to argue with that part of my brain that's bringing that up right about now. Like, dude, what are you thinking, man? I'm about to get into the shit. Maybe this guy might have a gun. I need to concentrate and be in the game, and you're bugging me about my unit. So there was a part of my mind that started to go there, like, dude, what the F are you talking about? I was, had this little mental banter with myself inside my skull there for a minute, but I couldn't, because this guy's closing in on me. It's pooper get off the pot time. I'm going to have to do something. So I just let that thought go, whatever. And then, I gave a few commands, and luckily things went down as best as possible. So he ended up not having a gun on him. I didn't have to slam him. He didn't, things were cool. But that was a story where a crazy thought went in my head, and I could not give it any purchase in my mind. I started to, but I recognized that, and I was like, hey, worry about the damn uniform later. And there are times when, and I've experienced this more than once, when crazy crap will enter your brain when it's like the most inappropriate time to have that thought, when some serious stuff's going on. So that's one story. The other story where meditation really helped me was when I was out of police work. And I was 30 years old, and I've been out of police work for maybe a year. Probably a year. Anyway, I was in a fight with 5 guys. And I really won't get into the details of how this went down, but it was kind of a road rage incident where these 5 guys in a car thought me and my buddy was driving this Jeep, thought we had like kind of swerved into their lane, and we had just shut the bars down on 6th Street. Shouldn't have really been out. It's asshole hour. And people are leaving the bars and they're looking for trouble and looking for crap. And I was in that school of fish, all leaving 6th Street in Austin. But anyway, these guys couldn't be dissuaded, and they wanted to fight us, and they knew they outnumbered us 5-2. So they had a pretty big set of balls on them, whatever. I remember it got to a point where they were behind us and things had escalated, and I knew that there, like if we got stuck in traffic, these guys were going to open their doors. They were going to bum rush me and my buddy in the Jeep, and crap was going to go down. So I knew this was happening. I knew that. I mean, I had the forethought of going, man, this isn't going well. So I was looking at my side view mirror on the door, and I saw a red light coming up, and I was like, oh crap! And I saw brake lights. We were in the right-hand lane. There were cars to the left of us, and I'm like, man, we're hemmed in. These guys are about 2 or 3 cars behind us. I see these cars stop behind us, And then I see this car stop there, that car with the guys in it, and I see their doors pop open. And I'm like, and I see guys getting ready to come out. So I jumped out of the Jeep, took my seatbelt off, told my buddy, I said, hey, they're coming. Let's go, let's go. He decided to stay in the Jeep. That's his choice. And I remember, this is the first thought, was I remember wanting to stop right then and there and plead with my friend. Dude, don't leave me. Don't leave me to fight these 5 guys by myself. You know, come get my back. Come at least, you know, fight with me. 2 to 5 is better than 1 to 5 odds. So that was the first time my mind was like, there was a, you know, like panic set in and like a desire to plead with my friend to be like, please, like, no, like, you can't leave me. This is the like shittiest time to like, for me to find out that you don't have my back, you know. And that started, you know, that raw emotion of like abandonment and fear, and then I got pissed. I'm like, I got rid of that one. I said, man, I cannot think of this right now. It's time for business. And then, you know, I was pissed at him, but then I was like, I'm going to turn that energy into what I need to do to fight these guys. So grim resolve, just here we go, and I'm not going to let these 5 guys come to take the fight to me. I got to take the fight to them. So I had to try to manipulate and dictate the action. So I start just speed walking because I'm going to be fighting 5 guys. That's what my mind told me. So I'm going to be fighting 5 guys, and it's like, all right, speed walk, because I want to take the fight to them. I don't want them to get around me, surround me. And I start really walking fast towards this first guy that comes out. And I assume they're alpha. He was the one that was mouthing and jack-jawing a lot when they were like driving around us and screaming out of the windows and stuff. But I remember walking up to him, and I'm like looking right at his solar plexus, center mass, and I'm just, so I can see all his weapons. And I'm walking and I'm looking, and I see him kind of, you know, doing this with one of his arms, and I remember looking at it real quick, going like, what is that? And I was like, because I want to make sure I was trained. Police officer, is it a weapon? No, it's not a weapon. So it doesn't look like any weapon I've ever seen. So then I came back and I'm looking here. And I'm starting to use my peripheral vision to see what these other guys are doing. You know, they're kind of waiting to see what's going to happen between this guy and I. And I remember thinking as I'm walking, like, what the hell's in his hand that he's shaking? It looks like a Sonic brown paper bag, like, you know, the bag lunch that you can get at Sonic. You know, what's he holding a brown bag for? And I remember, my mind was like thinking, this is like the dry, you know, like there's a part of my mind that said, this is like the dry cleaner, you know, like you don't get your uniform dirty in the first story I told. And I remember like wanting to argue with myself again and like, what the hell are you, dude, it's time to fight. What are you even trying to, and this is where the beauty of meditation comes in, and knowing your mind, and knowing there was something to that was nagging in my head that told me, it was just a feeling, do not dismiss you trying to figure out what the hell's in this guy's hand, you know. And I remember picking up something else as I was approaching this guy. I remember as I was, you know, looking here, I remember seeing he had 2 different colored shoes on. And I'm like, and there's part of me, hey, he's got a brown shoe on and a white shoe. That's weird. I'm like, man, you know, there's part of me like, don't pay attention to that. And I'm closing the distance, you know, and then it all clicked. And my subconscious mind figured it out. Oh, he's wearing cowboy boots. He took one of his boots off because the white shoe was on his right foot, and the brown bag he was carrying was on his right hand. So I knew exactly. He had taken his cowboy boots off, and they were steel-toed, more than likely, and he was going to friggin' clock me with this steel-toed cowboy boot. And this all happened while I'm closing the distance in a flash of a second, and there was part of my mind that wanted to dismiss it. Part of it said, no, listen, and then work it out. And it, man, it got worked out just in the nick of time too, because I knew what this guy was gonna, and he's sitting there, he's like winding up, like a pitcher, like he's getting ready to, wallop me. And I could tell by the way he was kind of chambering back here that he was probably going to do this like crazy haymaker, overhand, windmill, beam me right on top of the head, try to knock me out. And what I did was I got I took a big step forward, which would be in his range and my range if I wanted. If I wanted to take a nice big long jab at him, I probably could have popped him. But I got in that range, and I saw him fire. He just, and this is when time slowed down. Man, time slowed down. This thing was coming, and I knew exactly what his tactic was. I knew where his target was, and I'm sitting there right there presenting him with this perfect target. And I saw this thing coming. Time slowed down. I moved back. I kept my foot planted there, but I moved my body back. This boot cleared me, and he was overextended like this, and I just remember seeing his ear. And when I stepped back, I stepped back, hey, come clock me in the head. And he swung, and I stepped back. This boot clears, bang, just right in his ear. He squealed, and just like he had no bones all of a sudden, he just went to the ground, out, like that. And then immediately, I broke my tunnel vision, started seeing where these guys were. I noticed when I was approaching this guy, that one of these guys he was trying to get around behind me. And then he was the second guy I went after and took the fight too, but I was aware of where everybody was. But meditating, being able to know your mind, being able to get rid of stuff that is not, has no place in your headspace, and be able to dismiss it, to also, in a critical situation, when the shit's hitting the fan, to go, wait, I do need to pay attention to this. There's a reason why my brain is trying to, hey, why does he have this in his hand? And he's got two different colored shoes. And hey, and there's a part of me like, shut up, man, we're about to fight, dude. But I paid attention, and I problem solved in a critical amount of time, and it worked out well for me. So the moral of this story is meditate, do what it takes. And yes, for a lot of people, and even me at times, depending on what kind of day I'm having or what's going on, and how many plates I'm spinning, I can sit here and go, man, all these unwanted thoughts when I'm just trying to calm down, chill out, and get into, higher mental states beyond beta, okay? But part of that is the exercise to practice having them come into your mind and then just being able to dismiss them and don't give them any more weight than they deserve. Obviously, when there's certain information that comes in, you need to pay attention to it and give it the weight that it deserves. So there's two stories here. One where I dismissed it because it wasn't relevant, and one where, hey, wait, okay, my higher self is telling me to pay attention, and all right, let's problem solve and puzzle. And so meditate. That's it. Cheers. We'll talk at you later.